All right, this is Grandfather. Now you're coming into a time that will be very different. It will be, for some of you, difficult to manage, and for others, you will welcome it. For a long time, as has been said many times by many, the feminine energy is rising on the planet, but I feel there's a misunderstanding about this. Some people think that this means exclusively that the feminine beings on the planet will be more whole, be more able to be themselves, be complete, you understand. And that is certainly true. But there is a factor that is a bit awkward for the masculine beings. The masculine beings have a tendency to believe, who are conscious of these things, all right? Meaning human beings, have a tendency to believe that if the feminine energy is rising, that means that they may have a chance to step back a bit and see, quote, how the women can run things, unquote. But it's not exactly that. Certainly there is some of that. The feminine energy that is the portion of the masculine energy that has been suppressed over the years, not only in conditioning, meaning how you're treated, how you're raised as a man or a boy, but also how you are given permission to approach life. So the masculine being's feminine energy has absolutely nothing to do with the women or girls in your life. The masculine feminine energy, that is your balance. Just as the feminine masculine energy is the balance for women. All right? So, the male's feminine energy is not the feminine energy of women. It is primarily, for the male, receptivity, knowledge that is put into practice because it is benevolent for all beings, all right, which is a form of wisdom that nurtures and supports all life, and also the capacity to nurture and support all life on your own, even though, obviously, women are the creators of life. Get it out of your head that men do this. Men could do this all day long and all next week, but without women, nothing happens. So get clear about that. Women are intended to be, by Creator and your angels and guides, the vessel of creation. So women are to be considered sacred beings, even though I understand they will not always act that way. But in moments, they all will at one time or another. Many of you, men and boys out there, are given a demonstration of what femininity is from your mothers or grandmothers, perhaps, or even your aunties. But some of you, especially in these times, will be shown what feminine energy for the male being is by men. This does not mean exclusively that you will be shown this by a gay man, for instance. More likely, you will be shown this in a way that you can appreciate by a man who is simply balanced in his masculine energy and in his masculine feminine energy. I'm going to call it that so you don't get too confused, because the feminine energy for a man is associated with the masculine. So, I want you to understand that this is a time when the feminine energy for the man is also rising. And this is why a great many of you feel completely confused and don't understand what's going on around you, much less what's going on within you. You're not going to become less masculine, but you will have feelings that come to the surface regardless of how you've been conditioned in your culture or with your friends or with your family, because this is a spiritual experience for you. You are, yes, your physical day-to-day self. And you have a soul, of course, that portion of Creator that allows you to be here on earth. But you also have a spirit, an overall being associated with you and all your incarnations, wherever you go, whatever you do, and whoever you are in any given life, focus, or dimension. And it is that spirit that is a portion of Creator that is guiding this change for you. So first and foremost, men and boys and old men, be aware that these feelings are coming up for all of you. Don't try to suppress it. If you try to suppress it, it will make you feel like you're crazy. And by crazy, I do not mean mentally unstable. I mean that you'll have almost a shaking. And for some of you, it'll feel like a shaking inside your body. And that's that benevolent, feminine energy for the man wanting to emerge. You will be your masculine self as always, but you will also now be incorporating and demonstrating qualities that have been, how can we say, segregated in conditioning for many cultures to the woman. But the man can also nurture. The man can support. The man can be benevolent. And many of you are already doing this. I wanted to make this point today because it's something that's really profoundly happening for the man just in this past couple of 3 years. And it is going to get stronger and stronger. It won't make you crazy. As long as you're able to demonstrate these qualities for yourself and others, you will feel just fine. Most likely you will feel better than you have in your whole life. For women, the masculine energy that is associated with women came up about 7 or 8 years ago. So women have already incorporated this to the greatest extent that's possible. It will still keep coming up a little bit more for women for the next 2 years. So men and boys, if you need advice on how to incorporate this thing which feels foreign to you, just as it did feel foreign to women and girls when it came up for them as the feminine masculine energy, you can ask a woman who has knowledge of these things how to integrate it in a way that, well, this is what to say. How did you integrate this in a way that allowed you to have a life, to continue on being who you are? How did you adapt to it? Don't ask them how to adapt to the masculine feminine energy because they won't know how. Just ask them how they adapted to the feminine masculine energy in order to understand what you have to do. You have to allow it, but you'll need practical, down-to-earth suggestions, and I believe they're available for you now. Good life.